Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. Jason here bringing you today's video. As always guys, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. We've got a ton of content that we come out with. We're trying to review as many books as possible. Also, don't forget to check the links down below for links to today's book, any other applicable links. This is our Discord channel, and anything else we can think of. Please check it out through the links. One of our fans asked us to set ourselves up with the Amazon affiliates so we could use the traffic through those links. Otherwise, once again, thank you everybody for joining us, and I'm going to go ahead and get right into today's video. So for today's episode, I want to talk about a book that just came out, I would say this month, but I've been behind. Sorry for being so far behind with you guys, but just came out last month. It's called Robosoldiers, and the tagline with it absolutely cracks me up. But Robosoldiers, thank you for your servos. I love puns. The worse the pun, the better. And this is actually a pretty damn good pun. So this one really cracked me up. Some of the puns I use, I can rate how good it is by how many people around me groan, facepalm, or hit me. So this one's actually pretty damn good. Like a lot of the books, or at least like once a month, I seem to be reviewing a book like this. It's a short story book. It's a book of short stories, and unlike that one regarding colonizing another star system, this one they're not interwoven. These are not interrelated short stories. They're all individual stories about robotic soldiers or AIs and how it could work. Because we are kind of approaching that. And I talk about this every time with the short story books, but these things are awesome. Short story books like this are absolutely awesome for reads. They're the kind of things you download and put on your phone or your Kindle that you stow in your purse or whatever it may be, because they're short. They're short stories, so you need something to read at work when you're on your breaks. Maybe you get your lunch break and one other short break. You need something to keep you occupied. Short stories are great because you can finish it. You don't get bogged down into this long book that then you're sucked into for days. You can finish it in these short little spurts. Plus, not everything is for everybody. It's like that colonizing one. There was one about lawyers and legalities that probably bored some people, so they just skipped it and went to the next short story. Same thing with Robosoldiers. All these short stories, there's got to be something in there for you. And they are freaking cool. These are some of the top people in science fiction, and the thing about Robosoldiers, the thing about this whole concept, this is not necessarily science fiction as much as science potential. We're already kind of there. We already use the word AI in real world in regards to certain programs, even though we know they are absolutely not AIs. 100% not AIs. They are not actually intelligent. They couldn't pass the Turing test. They are just there to mimic. They're just excellent programs that mimic. Maybe they are able to learn up to a point, but for the most part, they just mimic actual intelligence. This book, these stories, they cover what are some of the potential hazards, and those things have been covered in other books. I mean, you've got Isaac Asimov's 3 Laws of Robotics. That was to prevent the AIs from running crazy. And of course, it's been shown many times, including in his books, how those 3 laws of robotics are deeply flawed and would not necessarily stop a Skynet scenario from happening. And there's been plenty of other books that talk about the dangers of AIs. Some books that have AIs they're in far future, their governments will have outlawed certain levels of AI, or there's certain legal restrictions that are programmed into AIs to prevent them from being able to be fully free as an artificial intelligence. Even, the Murderbot Diaries. The Murderbot Diaries. It's an AI. It is definitely intelligent. It's definitely self-aware. And there were restrictions on it before he hacked himself. So Robosoldiers, kind of the same thing. Now what's cool about it, and what I did find unexpected, was the title of the book is Robosoldiers. So what I was expecting, what I was envisioning, was an entire book of short stories that are basically all T-800s. T-800s, T-1000s, are your mechanizer, your Skelelots from the Rifts RPG. They're actual robot soldiers, replacing humans on the battlefield. It's something that we, of course, talk about all the time, which I personally, as a former soldier, I think is an incredibly flawed and dangerous concept. The second we remove soldiers from the battlefield, remove actual life from being lost on the battlefield, I think wars will happen far more often. As soon as we remove actual lives being at risk, wars will probably turn into a business more than anything else. Even now with drones, just imagine when we can replace our human boots on the ground with some form of drone remotely operated. Now, when nobody's at risk for anything, it will completely change it. So I think the concept of robot soldiers is a bad idea, but it's gonna happen. We already have drones. It's going to happen. And this book covers a lot of it. But what surprised me about it was not just about robotic soldiers, but there would also AIs, just standard AIs, the computer programs, the computer itself, the program itself, this ghost in the shell, this this program that's living somewhere on the net or somewhere in a specific computer somewhere, the machine from person of interest, basically, that kind of stuff. So it's not always about an actual robotic soldier so much as it could be just about an artificial intelligence that is in some way, shape, or form related to the battlefield. In fact, there's one short story that is semi-modern times, figure, we're looking like 10, 15, maybe 20 years into the future, where countries have these basically battle AIs that analyze and figure out the best battle strategies. And how would you defeat that? How would you spoof it in a way? That is the subject of one book, and that was a really cool book. Then you've got what happens when an AI goes rogue. You've got that covered. What happens when the AIs are still restricted and constrained by various programming, and you have a rookie that's in charge of them? What could happen then? What could happen when you've got a battle over and there are AIs left on the battlefield? It's kind of like, you look at some of our past conflicts that have left, say, countries littered with mines. We read about that, you see that on TV. Not so much now, but back in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up, you would see that, commercials and news reports and stuff like that all the time. Children stepping on mines left over from some conflict in some third world country somewhere. Well, now just imagine we have AIs and AI war machines and AI weapons. And, let's say we have this small little conflict and we completely defeat in detail one of the powers that be. So there's nobody left that knows where they buried and hid their AI super weapon or their last AI tank or the last Robosoldier with laser beams, that kind of stuff. And then how would we deal with it? What would happen if we accidentally stumbled across it? There's just so many scenarios within this book, and it's an absolute blast. You guys have to check it out. Robosoldiers. Thank you for your servos. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and then check the links down below for the book. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys next time. Bye now.